There's a calendar that can triple your harvest without buying a single seed, fertilizer, or tool. It's been used by every agricultural civilization in human history, from ancient Egypt to medieval Europe to indigenous America. Farmers who follow this calendar report germination rates above 90%, faster growth, and yields that seem impossible by modern standards. Yet today, agricultural schools call it superstition and dismiss it as primitive folklore. This calendar doesn't track days or months. It tracks the moon. For thousands of years, farmers planted, harvested, and tended crops according to lunar phases, achieving results that modern agriculture struggles to match despite all its technology and chemicals. Then in less than 50 years, this knowledge was systematically erased and replaced with industrial farming methods that ignore the most powerful force affecting plant growth on Earth. Why was lunar agriculture abandoned? Because you can't patent the moon. You can't sell moon phases or charge subscription fees for gravitational effects. The agriculture industry needs farmers buying products continuously, and a calendar that works for free threatens the entire business model of modern farming. Welcome to where we uncover the knowledge they called primitive but actually works better than anything they've invented since. If this is your first time here, subscribe and hit the bell, because what I'm about to show you could revolutionize your garden using nothing but the moon's natural cycles. This is wisdom that fed civilizations for millennia, then vanished because it worked too well for free. The science behind lunar agriculture is actually straightforward physics. The moon's gravitational pull affects all water on Earth, creating tides and oceans, lakes, and rivers. But that same gravitational force also affects the water inside plants, influencing sap flow, cellular pressure, and biological processes in ways that directly impact growth, germination, and productivity. During certain moon phases, gravitational pull increases water uptake in plant roots and accelerates sap flow throughout the plant. Seeds planted during these optimal phases germinate faster and develop stronger root systems. Plants transplanted during favorable lunar periods experience less shock and establish more quickly. Harvests timed with lunar cycles store longer and maintain better quality. But modern agriculture dismissed all of this as superstition without ever testing whether it actually works. Agricultural schools teach soil chemistry and plant genetics while completely ignoring gravitational effects that influence every biological process on the planet. Farmers are told to plant according to soil temperature and frost dates while the moon cycles, which affect plant biology more than any other single factor, are ignored entirely. This wasn't always the case. Every traditional agricultural culture developed sophisticated lunar planting systems based on thousands of years of observation and experience. These weren't primitive superstitions. They were scientific systems refined over generations by people whose survival depended on agricultural success. Ancient Egyptian farmers planted grain according to lunar calendars that coordinated with Nile flood cycles. Their agricultural texts, carved in stone and preserved for thousands of years, detail specific moon phases for planting different crops. Egyptian agriculture was so productive it supported one of history's most advanced civilizations in a desert environment. Roman agricultural writers like Pliny the Elder and Columella wrote extensively about lunar planting techniques. Roman farmers planted vegetables during waxing moons for maximum growth and harvested during waning moons for better storage. Roman agriculture was so efficient it fed an empire spanning 3 continents for over 1,000 years. Medieval European farmers followed lunar calendars that specified optimal planting times for every crop. These calendars were preserved in monastery libraries and passed down through generations of farming families. Medieval agriculture supported population growth and economic development that laid the foundation for modern European civilization. Indigenous American cultures developed lunar planting systems that allowed them to grow abundant crops in challenging environments. The Three Sisters planting method of corn, beans, and squash was timed according to moon phases to maximize the beneficial relationships between these crops. Native American agriculture was so productive it supported complex civilizations across the Americas. Every traditional culture independently discovered that lunar cycles dramatically affect plant growth. This wasn't coincidence or shared superstition, it was empirical observation of real biological phenomena. Farmers who ignored lunar cycles consistently achieved lower yields than those who followed them. Then came the Industrial Revolution, and everything changed. Agriculture shifted from biological observation to mechanical intervention. Farmers were told that scientific farming meant using tractors, fertilizers, and pesticides, not following moon phases. Agricultural education focused on chemistry and engineering while dismissing traditional knowledge as unscientific folklore. The transformation was remarkably rapid. In just 2 generations, knowledge that had sustained human civilization for thousands of years was almost completely lost. Farming families that had followed lunar calendars for centuries abandoned them in favor of industrial methods. Agricultural colleges stopped teaching lunar techniques and began treating them as embarrassing relics of an ignorant past. But the dismissal of lunar agriculture wasn't based on scientific testing, it was based on economic necessity. The industrial agriculture system required farmers to buy products continuously. Lunar calendars worked for free and made farmers more self-sufficient. If farmers could achieve better results by following moon phases than by buying fertilizers and chemicals, the entire agricultural industry would collapse. So lunar agriculture was systematically suppressed. Agricultural extension services stopped recommending lunar techniques. Farming magazines ridiculed lunar calendars as superstition. Agricultural research focused on developing products to sell rather than studying techniques that worked for free. In just a few decades, knowledge that had fed humanity for millennia was relegated to the realm of folklore and pseudoscience. But the moon's gravitational effects didn't disappear just because agricultural schools stopped teaching about them. Plants still respond to lunar cycles exactly as they did for ancient farmers. The biological mechanisms that made lunar agriculture effective continue operating whether modern farmers acknowledge them or not. Recent scientific research has begun rediscovering what traditional farmers always knew. Studies from universities around the world confirm that lunar cycles significantly affect plant growth, germination rates, and crop yields. The evidence is overwhelming, but it remains buried in obscure scientific journals, while mainstream agriculture continues ignoring lunar effects. A study from the University of Sassari in Italy found that seeds planted during optimal moon phases showed 30% higher germination rates than seeds planted randomly. Research from the University of Agriculture in Poland demonstrated that vegetables planted according to lunar calendars produced significantly larger harvests. Studies from multiple universities confirm that lunar cycles affect sap flow, cellular pressure, and biological processes in ways that directly impact agricultural productivity. The mechanisms are becoming clearer as scientists develop better tools for measuring biological processes. Lunar gravitational effects influence water movement in plants, affecting everything from nutrient uptake to cellular division. During certain moon phases, plants experience increased biological activity that accelerates growth and improves productivity. But perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from farmers who never stopped using lunar techniques. In remote areas where industrial agriculture never fully penetrated, traditional farmers continue following lunar calendars and achieving results that seem impossible by modern standards. These farmers consistently report higher yields, better crop quality, and fewer problems with pests and diseases. Now let me show you how to use lunar agriculture in your own garden. The techniques are simple, cost nothing to implement, and work whether you're growing herbs on a windowsill or crops on acres of farmland. This knowledge could transform your gardening results using nothing but the moon's natural cycles. The lunar month divides into 4 distinct phases, each optimal for different agricultural activities. The new moon phase, when the moon is dark, is ideal for planting root crops and preparing soil. Gravitational pull is minimal during this phase, allowing plants to focus energy on developing strong root systems. The waxing moon phase, when the moon is growing brighter, is perfect for planting above-ground crops like lettuce, spinach, and herbs. Increasing gravitational pull during this phase accelerates sap flow and promotes rapid leaf growth. Seeds planted during waxing moon phases germinate faster and develop more vigorous growth. The full moon phase, when gravitational pull is strongest, is optimal for transplanting and harvesting crops intended for immediate consumption. The intense gravitational effects during full moon maximize biological activity in plants, making this the ideal time for activities requiring maximum plant energy. The waning moon phase, when the moon is shrinking, is best for harvesting crops intended for storage, pruning plants, and controlling pests. Decreasing gravitational pull during this phase reduces sap flow and biological activity, making plants more dormant and better able to withstand stress. But lunar agriculture goes beyond just timing planting and harvesting. Different moon signs, determined by which constellation the moon appears in, are optimal for different types of crops. Fire signs like Aries and Leo are best for fruit crops. Earth signs like Taurus and Virgo favor root vegetables. Air signs like Gemini and Aquarius are ideal for flowers and herbs. Water signs like Cancer and Pisces promote leafy growth. The combinations create a sophisticated planting calendar that specifies optimal times for every agricultural activity. Ancient farmers developed detailed lunar calendars that told them exactly when to plant each crop for maximum yield, when to harvest for best storage, and when to perform maintenance activities for optimal results. Modern farmers who rediscover lunar techniques report dramatic improvements in their results. Germination rates increase, growth accelerates, yields improve, and crop quality enhances. Plants grown according to lunar calendars show better resistance to pests and diseases, require less water and fertilizer, and produce more abundant harvests. The beauty of lunar agriculture is its simplicity and universality. The moon's cycles are the same everywhere on Earth, making lunar calendars applicable in any climate or location. The techniques work for any crop, from vegetables to grains to fruit trees. The knowledge costs nothing to acquire and nothing to implement, yet agricultural extension services never mention lunar techniques in their recommendations for improving yields or crop quality. Farming magazines ignore lunar agriculture despite overwhelming evidence of its effectiveness. Agricultural colleges continue teaching industrial methods while dismissing traditional knowledge that consistently outperforms modern techniques. This isn't scientific skepticism, it's economic protection of industries that profit from agricultural dependence. If farmers knew they could achieve better results by following moon phases than by buying fertilizers and chemicals, entire business models would collapse. The agriculture industry needs farmers to believe that success requires purchased products, not free natural cycles. But the knowledge is spreading despite institutional resistance. Individual gardeners and farmers are rediscovering lunar techniques and sharing results that confirm thousands of years of traditional wisdom. Online communities preserve and share lunar planting calendars that agricultural schools refuse to teach. Your garden can become a laboratory for lunar agriculture. Every seed you plant according to moon phases, every harvest you time with lunar cycles. Every improvement you achieve using traditional techniques proves that this knowledge works despite official dismissal. You're not just growing food, you're preserving wisdom that sustained human civilization for millennia. The moon calendar that triples your harvest isn't just increasing your yields, it's challenging the entire framework of modern agriculture that keeps farmers dependent on purchased inputs. It's proving that the most powerful agricultural technologies are often the oldest ones, refined by thousands of years of observation and experience. If this opened your eyes to what's possible with lunar agriculture, hit like so more people can discover this ancient wisdom. Subscribe because we're uncovering more traditional knowledge that could transform how we grow food. Share this with someone who's struggling with poor germination or inconsistent harvests. The lunar revolution starts with understanding that plants respond to cosmic forces we've forgotten how to use, and that the solutions to agricultural challenges might be written in the sky above us. Traditional farmers knew this secret for thousands of years. Now you know it too.